Hey everybody, I'm Ryan. Today we're going to look at the Pioneer metagame on Magic Online. We're going to be looking at decks that had 5-0s in leagues, 3-1 or 4-0s in prelims, and the top 32 of challenges. So this is sort of a winner's metagame, not necessarily an overall metagame. But then we're going to look at really the winner's metagame in the decks that top 8'd the challenges from this past weekend. And then see if we can draw any conclusions out of that, like we do every week. Let's check out the Pioneer metagame. The most popular deck, and this is a little bit of a surprise to me, is Blue-White Control, followed closely by Abzan Greasefang, and then Red-Black Midrange. Now, the last time I did a Pioneer metagame, Red-Black Midrange was at the top by a pretty dramatic margin, and the time before that, it was Red-Black Midrange and Green Nykthos at the top by a pretty huge margin. But I really think the Pro Tour shook up the Pioneer metagame in so many more ways than, like, the finals being creativity and auras. I think it proved to people that you can innovate within the sphere, and that Red-Black and the Green Nykthos deck are not indisputed God-appointed kings. So let's look at these top 3 decks a little more closely. Blue-White Control is your classic Blue-White Control deck. Plays counterspells and removal spells and board wipes, and then tries to close out the game with planeswalkers like Teferi Hero Dominaria, and normally actually killing their opponent with Hall of the Storm Giants or sometimes some Angels post-board. There's not a lot to say about that. I mean, I think we've seen Blue-White Control decks existing in Magic in almost every format ever since Magic's inception, so we're going to move on from here. The second most popular deck is Abzan Greasefang, the most popular version being a Vessel of Nascency to get Delirium and then traverse the Ulvenwald to be able to just like go Greasefang after Greasefang after Greasefang. It is really focused on the combo, and with its success at the Pro Tour, it has picked up more and more steam and had more and more awesome finishes and successes over time. What the deck does is it fills its graveyard, preferably with vehicles, and then plays Greasefang, to which then it reanimates a vehicle, preferably Parhelion, but there are other vehicles, and then jams in for a ton of value. And then the third most popular deck, the former undisputed king, is Red-Black Midrange. Red-Black Midrange is your classic removal spell 1-for-1 card midrange deck that answers their opponent's threats and then plays creatures that sometimes are removal spells in and of themselves, sometimes are hate cards, and sometimes are just so much value that your opponent can never catch up. Now, this plays like a rock midrange deck, like a green-black midrange, Jund midrange, and I think most people have seen decks like that before. But let's move on to a top 8 metagame. The top 8 metagame is a little bit more widespread. The most successful deck in top 8s being, frankly, the top 3 decks in the overall meta. The most successful deck is Red-Black Midrange, followed closely by Abzan Greasefang and Blue-White Control. But what I wanted to talk about between the top 8 metagame and the normal metagame is that there are so many successful decks. It is incredible how many decks you can play and realistically win a tournament in Pioneer. Just because these decks are the most popular decks or the most successful decks technically doesn't necessarily mean that you are pigeonholed into playing those decks if you want to win the tournaments and are playing competitively. You can play nearly anything, and if you get the right matchups and are a little bit lucky, you can win these Pioneer tournaments. I think this makes for a very healthy format, and it makes me excited for the future of the format, because for a while there, especially before the Pro Tour, it was very stale, so I'm really happy the Pro Tour inspired people to innovate and not just play Red-Black and Nykthos, even though I mostly play Red-Black. If you like this video and want to see more videos like this, I do a metagame video every single week. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.